Hello, good morning, xin chào cả nhà. À, Hôm nay là ngày đầu tiên của buổi chia sẻ Lit in English Season 4 về chủ đề Understanding Unself, Materialize Humanity. And for this Zoom call, our goal is to share the amazing knowledge that we have learned from understanding undersell material humanity in English. And our hope is to spread these amazing knowledge to every corner of the world. And I know has been a while, but we finally back. I have been busy with moving and work and all of that, but this is such an amazing knowledge that I have to find time to share this, and it is absolutely true that this knowledge is priceless, and now here we are, getting together and continuing our journey. And I am very excited for season 4 because as those who following us in the past 3 seasons, we has finally finalized the 3 reference system, and we dive in very deep for season 3. We even have like extra Zoom call extra section to go in very, very, very deep into the human structure. And for season 4, we has finally put together the 4 principles and the 3 semantic reference system. Therefore, I am very, very excited to be here today, and thank you very much for joining us and going on this 21-day journey. All right. Okay. So as usual, let's start the journey. Understand self, materialize amenity, or we can even replace it with happiness. All right. So this is a journey to understand our inner self. So what do we mean by understanding our inner self? If you can have a pen and paper, I would like to invite you to join me and grab a pen and paper. So in the top left corner, let's draw a stick figure. So this stick figure is the representation of our inner self. And in life, there are many barriers surrounding us and stopping us from realizing our potential or accomplishing our dream. So if you have a different color pen like I do, it is important to use different colors so that we can differentiate between this barrier. So this would be the third one. And this is the fourth. This is the fifth. And this is the sixth one, representing the sixth barrier. All right, why is it important that we can recognize these 6 barriers? Right. So the important thing about realizing the sixth barrier is because in life, there are things that we want to accomplish. There are things that we want to have. But for some reason, we just couldn't get ourselves to achieve it. Or when we achieve it, it doesn't last for a long time. Therefore, it is important to recognize these barriers, to be consciously aware of the breakthrough that we have made. And the first one out of these six barriers is called, let's draw number one here. And this is limiting belief. So limiting belief is one of the biggest barriers of all. Limiting belief is the way that we limiting our potential. For example, one of the person that I admire the most is Mike Tyson. I'm sure most people have heard of Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson is a very famous boxer, and he's probably the most well-known person of the world, the most recognized person of the world. And he happened to be Black, or what we call African American here in the U.S. And you know what? Mike Tyson, he started out not as a successful boxer. And nowadays, he is a very, very successful business entrepreneur. He even working on many projects like opening a self-help program to help young people or people who want to have that time freedom, financial freedom. So he has accomplished a lot in his life. But prior to his boxing career, which make his name, he, like many other African American here in the U.S., they all have their limiting belief, right? So he was a part of a street gangs in his early age. And Mike Tyson often had to go to reform school in New York in 1978. And he pretty much is a what we would call a petty criminal back in the day, until one day he met Cus, I think Diamanto, and Cus is arguably one of the best coach in the world. And the second that Cus looked at Mike Tyson, he just knew that, you know what, this guy right here, Mike Tyson, even at 13 years old, he had the physique of a 16 and 18, and he could be the greatest boxer in the world. That what Cus were able to see in Mike Tyson, and he took Mike Tyson in, trained him, and the interesting thing about the relationship between Cus and Mike is that Cus is a hypnotist as well. So he would give Mike Tyson like hypnotist section to, I wouldn't say hypnotize Mike Tyson, but to encourage him to break through his limiting belief. Because for those who are not familiar with the culture here in the U.S., often African American or Black people, they tend to believe that they don't have a lot of opportunity. The only thing that they can do to have a better life is either play sport or play music or be out in the street selling drugs and do criminal activities. But because he's recognized the potential of Mike Tyson, he believed in it, and he personally trained Mike Tyson and give him many, many important matches and help him rise up all the way to the top. Now, the question is, what have changed from for Mike Tyson from a street gang to the world famous boxer? And pretty much he just destroyed everyone that faced him during his prime time. And the answer to it is he was able to break through his limiting belief from the belief that he was just a gangster, where the only thing he knows is how to rob people, how to sell drugs to make it through the day. He was able to break through that limiting belief thanks to Cuss. And the most important thing is he strongly believed that he is the greatest boxer of all time. And this is so interesting because I did some research on Mike Tyson, and I listened to a lot of the podcasts that he is in. It is very, very interesting how Mike developed the mindset of a king, of a champion, of a conqueror, because to Mike, he is the greatest. And the second that he stepped inside the boxing ring, he most definitely believe that he is the best. He is very powerful. He's there to destroy his opponent. And that was exactly what he did. And this is to demonstrate the importance of the first barrier here, the barrier of limiting belief, right? So instead of having limiting belief, you can replace it by a powerful belief like what Mike Tyson did. Instead of believing that you are not good enough, believe that you not only good enough, but you are the greatest. And find that love, find a passion, find the thing that you want to have most in your life. And you know what? If you can do that, it's very, very likely that you will get it. Okay. Moving on to the second barrier. The second barrier is, let's write number 2 here. The second barrier is the fear of failure. Fear of failure. Okay, so fear of failure. What do I mean by fear of failure? Okay, so fear of failure is the fear that we have when we are doing something new, but we just couldn't do it because we are afraid of failing. And I think one of the greatest examples for this is we have to go back to Mike Tyson too, because for every matches that he has to face, pretty much like his opponent, everyone walked up to him to the ring, to the match. Prior to the match, they was very, very confident because they are professional boxers. They was much more well known than Mike when he was young, and they was more experienced. The funny thing is, it's kind of like not too funny, but it's really, really funny to me is that when they start to like go to conference meetup and they actually face to face, Mike was so intimidated that the other person, his opponent, actually having that fear of failure. They are actually afraid of Mike, afraid of fighting him, just because of the energy that he bring to the room. And when they get to the ring, Mike was so intimidating that his opponent would just couldn't couldn't move right. And if uh, if any of us follow boxing at all, we know that Mike Tyson usually finishes match within seconds. Most people couldn't even make it past the first minute. So the fear of failure is a barrier that's stopping us from getting to our greatest potential. Is limiting us the ability to reach our success. And because the fear of failure, oftentimes it even stop people from doing anything at all. And it is important for us to recognize this second barrier. All right, moving on to the third barrier, number 3. And this is the fear of judgment. Fear of judgment is the type of fear that we're afraid other people are judging us, judging the way that we think, the way that we operate. And this, again, often stop people from achieving their dream because they don't want people around them to judge them, say negative thing about them, criticize them. And this is one of the reasons we have a famous saying that I guess something along the line that you are crazy, or people think that you are crazy until you become a millionaire or a billionaire or become very, very successful. And then they started to tell you that, you are a genius, you are so amazing. But prior to that, a lot of judgment. And I think one good example for this fear of judgment, or the success of breaking through this fear of judgment, is the case of Elon Musk. In his early career, he often get criticized from every corner of the world until until he built his company successfully, not one but many successful company. And that was when people started to praise him. People start telling him that, hey, how genius he is to build all of this company. And then in 2020 or 2021, and when he became the richest person in the world, and most people no longer judge him. But you know what? There are still people who judge his success. Therefore, even though we all feel this fear of judgment and live in today technology, it is hard not to find judgment. And therefore, it is important for us to break through this barrier, this fear of judgment, because what is it is just a barrier. It's just something that's stopping us from achieving our full potential. There's no reason to pay too much attention on this at all. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, if you know you deserve something great, just go for it. We don't have time to waste on this fear of judgment. Okay, moving on to number 4. Number 4 is lack of prerequisite. Prerequisite. So lack of prerequisite is a type of fear that we don't have everything it takes to start a project. And this is very common among business owner or people who want to kickstart their business. Like when you and me included when I talk about this lack of prerequisite, because a lot of time when we start a business, we we kind of like feel like we don't have everything that we need. Like we don't have enough money, or we don't have enough team members to help us with this project, and many more. And oftentimes, sometimes it is just a limiting belief. So lack of prerequisite, if you are not careful, it is just another limiting belief. But you know what? Lack of prerequisite can be a good thing, because the awareness, the knowing of not having everything is a drive to help you get to your goal faster and better. Because if everything is ready, if everything is good, then you kind of lose that drive, right? In the case of Elon Musk, for example, great guy, super smart, super successful. In many of his interview, he always said that there are many other projects that he would be interested in doing, but he decided to focus on building an electric car, doing space exploration. And the reason he's saying that is because nobody else is doing it. He knows that it is important. He knows that we don't have the technology for it yet, but in the future, that is where we're going. That is what we need. So even though there is definitely a bunch of lack of prerequisite for his Tesla project, which is like electric car project, or his SpaceX, where he does space exploration. So if one was to fear up the lack of prerequisite, they wouldn't even start on Elon Musk's case, because of that very same reason. It was his drive to achieve his success with Tesla or with SpaceX. So the realization for the barrier number 4, lack of prerequisite, is that we have to be aware of it, because you know what, we can make this weakness into our strength, and that would help us materialize the dream or the life that we want to have. All right, so we have two more barrier, and they are as important. Number 5 is lack of knowledge. So for the lack of knowledge, I have to borrow the story of Elon Musk again, on his journey to electric car company Tesla and space exploration SpaceX. Obviously, there's definitely a bunch of lack of knowledge when it's come to those two projects, because nobody have ever done it before. Many people even criticize Elon for even attempt to do it. And that barrier does not stop Elon, because you know what, if I don't have all of the knowledge that I need, I can learn it. I can go and find the right person for the job. So oftentimes lack of knowledge is what stops people from even taking the first step toward their goal, toward their dream, toward their destination. Therefore, us, we are aware of it. And it is extremely important to break through these lack of knowledge. In fact, it's actually quite challenging, quite fun to fulfill this lack of knowledge. At the very least, that is my opinion. So number 6 is the most important one. If you cannot remember any of the previous 5, I do want you to remember barrier number 6, which is, let me actually change this color to red because this is so important. So this would be number 6. And this is lack of vision. Okay, what is lack of vision? Let's go back to the story of Mike Tyson and Cus, his trainer, his coach, his mentor, the one that make it a reality of the world famous boxer Mike Tyson that we know today, right? So lack of vision is the action of having the vision of success, for example. And this is what separates the winner from everyone else. This is what separates the champions from everyone else. In the early age, there is no way that Mike Tyson can see that he can be the greatest boxer of all time. There's no way that he can realize that as an African American, he can be the world famous. He might not even believe that he can have so many successful business venture that he's in right now. He probably wouldn't even believe that he can start a big community that can help young entrepreneurs have the right mindset, having the right connection, the right relationship, the right tool to build their community. Yet today, right at this moment, he is doing it. He's doing all of it. And all of that success thanks to his mentor, his coach, Cus, who is no longer with us. But the difference between those two in the early age is that Cus had a vision of Mike Tyson becoming the greatest boxer of all time, even though in 1978, Mike Tyson was just some young criminal, I dare say, you know. So having vision is something very, very amazing. I don't even know how to use the right word for it, but the word vision has great meaning to me, especially the ability to have the vision of a beautiful future, something that is very positive, like the vision of success, having a wonderful family, having a great supporting friends, have a amazing business adventure, all of that. In life, we have to be able to have vision. And I feel like this is something that we don't do often enough. Because as human, we are blessed with the ability to foresee, to look forward to the future and then make that vision, that future sight, a reality. And I am saying this confidently because I have seen it so many times in my lifetime, because I love to study successful people like Elon Musk, like Mike Tyson, like Jeff Bezos, and they all tell the same story. They all said that they have a dream. They was able to see their success for Mike, after he met Cuz, he had an image engraved to his head that he is the greatest boxer of all time. And eventually he made that a reality. For Jeff Bezos, he had the vision of Amazon. He knew that if he can control the way that product moved, he literally controlled the entire market. And he started Amazon, and he was able to make Amazon to be one of the most valuable country in the entire world that offers so many essential services. Elon Musk, for example, born and raised in South Africa, but he was able to have the vision of being a person who contributed greatly to the advance of humanity. And because of that vision, he was able to travel by himself from South Africa to Canada, and then eventually to the US, and start many, many successful company. He has becoming one of the most influential person. And it all starts with just one word: vision. So if you cannot remember a lot of words that I write on this piece of paper here, just remember the word vision. All right. So now, why is it so important that we have to be aware of the sixth barrier? Right. There has to be a reason. So if you can imagine this stick figure person here surrounded by the sixth barrier. So it is kind of like an egg, right? Similar to a chicken egg. So let's say if the force is coming from the outside in, right? Imagine this is a chicken egg. So if there is a force impacting it from the outside in, then that would mean that we are about to have an omelet, right? We're about to have food. We're about to crack an egg. However, if the force is coming from the inside out, breaking through the sixth barrier, then what gift is life, because that's how the chicken break through the shell after usually the 20 days incubation period. It's pretty cool how it's had like 21 days as well. So similarly, if we do not break through the barrier consciously to giving ourselves life, then the world would break us. And generally, people tend to change after they experience suffering. However, some of us do not have to wait for that, And those who did not change, the worst kind of suffering will come for them. And if they still do not change, then losses will get them to change. Therefore, we don't have to wait for pain, suffering, and losses to motivate us to change. The best way to change is from loving ourselves, from respecting ourselves. And the greatest change of all is through love. And I know it might sound very corny, But that is exactly what happened in all success stories that I've heard. Even from Mike Tyson, we hear him say how much he loved his coach, and through that relationship, to the genuine care and love and kindness, they was able to transform into something beautiful, something great. So similarly, let's say this stick figure is ourself, and if we can just break through this barrier and having this transformation, then the person inside will grow into a bigger fear, a bigger arm, bigger leg, even have a bigger belly button. Let's give them some hair. And this is what Mike Tyson became, right? Because he was able to becoming a bigger person, having greater success, and he's still doing very, very good now, right? Compared to how Mike was when in 1978, for example. He was just on the street, doing bad things, steal from people, all kind of criminal activity at the age of 13 years old, right? But because he was able to break through his limiting belief, breaking through the fear of failure, breaking through the fear of judgment, lack of prerequisite, lack of knowledge, lack of vision, Mike was able to eliminate all of that barrier to have that transformation. And the key word here is that you have to have vision. What different of the Mike Tyson as a boxer champion to his older self, who is just a street gang member, is vision, right? Because when he was trained by Cus, he always believed that he is the best, he is the champion, he is the emperor, he is the greatest, he is going to destroy whoever standing in front of him in that boxing ring. And through that, he activated a transformation. He was able to grow and becoming a bigger person, the world most recognized boxer. And thanks to that, he is able to accomplish many, many other things in life. And the beauty of the sixth barrier doesn't stop there. There's even more meaning to this sixth barrier that we need to implement in our life. There's something that we have to be aware of. And to end the presentation today, the very first day, I would like to tell the story of Mr. Roger Bannister again, because this is so critical. This is so important to the realization of the sixth barrier for that transformation. So the story goes that Mr. Roger Bannister, who is a undergraduate student in Oxford, and in his day, people said that it is impossible for anyone to run a mile under 4 minutes, because the fastest record at that time is 4 minutes and 2 seconds or something like that. Many people have tried and many people has failed to the point where all of the scientists, all of the doctor, they put together proof showing how impossible it is for a person, for human to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. And they come up with like excuses, like the way the leg structure or the way the body works, nutrition, whatever. They keep giving so many reasons why it is impossible to run a 1 mile under 4 minutes. And just to give you an idea of how far or how fast a person has to run to get to 1 mile under 4 minutes. So if you ever see the running track around a football field or a soccer field, remember, if you can imagine that track, it's pretty long, right? Because I run this back in high school, and when I was in high school, it took me like 15 minutes to go around that track. And I thought that was 1 mile, but it was not. It was only a quarter of a mile. In order to run 1 mile, you have to run 4 times of that track around that track. Okay, the track around the soccer or the football field. Therefore, in order to run 1 mile under 4 minutes, you have to run around that track within 1 minute. Okay. And I didn't realize how crazy it was until I went trying to do a 21 kilometer run a couple months ago. So it is insane to be able to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. Every 60 seconds, you have to like do one circle. And the entire world back then did not believe that it was possible. Mr. Roger Bannister thinks differently. He's always believed that it is possible to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. And he set out to prove to the world that it is possible, even though he was not the greatest runner of all time. But the difference between Roger Bannister and compared to everyone else is that he had that vision. He's know that it is possible. And because of that vision, he not only exercised physically, but he also exercised in his mind the image that he will get to the finishing line before 4 minutes hit. And then on May 6th of 1954, on a cold day in Oxford, England, Roger Bannister did the unthinkable. He was able to broke the 4 minute barrier with the 1 mile distance, and he was able to make the world record at 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. And all of the sudden, all limit was broken, right? What once were deemed impossible was now possible. And all of the previous belief that this could not be done was shattered. So not only Roger Bannister was able to prove the truth that we can run 1 mile under 4 minutes, he was able to show the world that he was able to break through that barrier of the entire world. And the interesting thing is, shortly after Roger Bannister break through that record, we're starting to see people from all over the world not only break that record, but they was able to run even faster than Mr. Roger Bannister did. Within the matter of 3 years, we have hundreds of people from the entire world was able to achieve uh, that goal of running 1 mile under 4 minutes. And nowadays, running 1 mile under 4 minutes is kind of like the standard for professional athletes, that they had to be able to accomplish that. And nowadays we have thousands, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are able to do the 1 mile under 4 minutes. And this story is very, very important, super important, critical to the 6 barriers, because through the story of Mr. Roger Bannister, we realize that when we have our transformation, when we are able to break through the 6 barrier and transform into a greater person, to materialize that vision, not only we achieve that transformation, which is very good for ourselves, we will be able to show the entire world what is possible. And because of that, it will literally change the world. And that was exactly what Mr. Roger Bannister did. For hundreds of years, for thousands of years, people thought it was impossible and they wouldn't dare to attempt to break it. But because he was able to show the world that, you know what, it is possible, he made that transformation. He proved that it was possible, and many, many thousands follow and was able to achieve it. So Bill Gates is another case, right? Because prior to Bill Gates, people most likely thought that it was impossible to becoming a billionaire at such a young age in his 20s. But Bill Gates was able to do it. And not only that, he became the world's richest person, or the richest person of the entire world. And because of the success story of Bill Gates, we soon see many, many young billionaires in their 20s invested in tech, to like software company like Facebook, Amazon, and Twitter, many other companies that follow the footstep of Microsoft, of Bill Gates. So it is very, very important to break through the barrier, especially the barrier number 6, lack of vision, because once we show people what is possible, then it will benefit everybody around us. And on that note, that is why it is so important that we are having this program, that we are having the understand your inner self, materialize amenity, or you can just replace the word amenity with a simple word like happiness. Because you know what? Happiness is the greatest good. If you were to ask a young child on what they want to be, and they will give you an answer. And if you continue to ask, like, why do you want that? They will give you a different answer until the very end, that why you want that thing or why do you want that thing. They would tell you that because that's what makes them happy. Just like what Roger Bannister did. He won that 1 mile under 4 minutes because that's what makes him happy. Mike Tyson become the greatest boxer of all time. Like, why did he do that? Because that's what essentially make him happy. That's what makes his mentor happy. And why is Elon Musk have to travel all the way from South Africa to the US to go to all of that challenge to realize his dream to achieve his goal? Is simply because he wanted to have that sensation of happiness, and the happiness is coming from within. And this is the journey that we are going on right now, the journey of understanding your inner self, materialize amenity, materialize happiness, because that literally the most important thing in life. And this can be very, some people, they just want to be in peace. Some people just want to be happy. Well, on that journey, they will accomplish amazing tasks, like what Mr. Roger Bannister did, or what Mike Tyson did, like what Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all of the greatest people who has come before us. And that is today's topic, the sixth barrier, the transformation that we need, the vision that we has to have. And yeah, that is the end of the presentation. So if you have any question, feel free to raise hand and share. Otherwise, just like usual, I will play a song, and we'll say goodbye for now, and I'll see everyone tomorrow at around the same time, which is 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 10 p.m. Vietnam time. And if you are in Europe, that will be 4 p.m. of Central European time. All right. So let's go out with a song.